Please note, for maximum picture quality, it may be necessary to adjust the tracking control on your VCR.
Riddle me this. I can record our progress, but I have no end. I keep you aligned, but I have no direction. You can use me to keep us on course, or you can adjust me when the picture is bad. What am I?
Are you tracking?
Tracking,
No.
yes!
That was good.
It just blew out everything. Hang on. This is Adjust Your Tracking, a podcast where we're on an adventure to watch a century of cinema, decade by decade, year by year. And I am one half of your host, Liam Delaney, and my cohort, the Cape Crusader, is...
Oliver Jones.
There we go.
So does that make you the boy wonder then?
Sure, I'll be the boy wonder. I can do that. I look good in tights.
And the Dark Knight's junior partner.
Dark Knight's junior partner. Do you know how we need... I'm already into it. They're never a team in this film, and then by the end, they're a team, and everyone just knows them as Batman and Robin. It's the most weirdest thing in the world.
And they do nothing together. But anyway, we'll get...
We're skipping ahead. What was I going to say? Welcome to a special... No, this is not really a special edition of the podcast, but it's outside of our little mini-series, and it's going to be the last podcast that we do for the 90s, I think. I'm sure we'll come back to the 90s at some point. And as part of our kind of our little mini-series we're doing, we wanted to do episodes outside of the kind of the main 10. We did our influencer series last week when we looked at the career of Bill Murray through like quick change. And then we really wanted to do like episodes when we do rewatches of classic films. And through this series, Batman Forever kept on coming up again and again, and we thought we'd look at Batman Forever this week. So this is welcome to the episode about Batman Forever. Before we get to that, though, Mr. Jones, how are you? I'm going to keep doing Riddle impressions.
I'm good, thanks. I've been working on a Batman animation this week. Well, I only started it
cool.
yesterday, but I don't. I think it's spurned on by watching these films. So I just wanted to just work on my skills this week. So I've challenged myself to do a little Batman animation where it goes through all the cinematic Batmans kind of morphing into one another.
That's cool.
In a little fun way.
Do you want a riddle?
Yeah, go on. Give us a riddle.
What has no hands but might knock on your door? Wait a minute, I haven't got an answer to this one. When is the top of the mountain like a savings account?
I don't know.
When it piques one's interest. There we go. That's a classic. I've got a whole book of Frank Gorshin riddles from the 60s series.
I love those. Like, what's the one? What's yellow and rights or something? Like a ballpoint banana. It's just like the level of...
What has yellow skin and rights?
That's it.
Ballpoint banana.
What's the rushing people? People are always in a hurry.
Yeah, what people are always in a hurry? Russians. My favourite thing after that, when Robin goes a ballpoint banana, Batman goes, yes, it's the only logical explanation. Makes perfect. That film is perfect.
So how are you this week anyway? You okay?
I'm okay. Nothing exciting. Work.
Work.
I watched Cabaret.
Oh, with Liza Minnelli.
Yeah, with Liza Minnelli, and yeah.
Any good?
Yeah, I loved it. Absolutely loved it. It's the first Bob Fosse. Is it Fosse or Fosse? I think it's Fosse, isn't it? Film I've ever seen. So, and I think I'll watch all that jazz next. But I really liked it. It was really subversive actually, and really really good. Liza Minnelli is just amazing. In
So
it.
when's that from?
1972.
I was gonna say, is it early 70s?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I only really know her from when she was in the Arthur films, and I guess latterly the Arrested Development.
She's wonderful in Arrested Development. I really love her in that.
Is she in some of the more recent ones?
She dies, doesn't she?
The
Spoilers.
Netflix ones. Oh, does she die? Her character die?
Yeah, but I think she is in it still somehow, or at least flashbacks or something like that.
Okay. I just loved the connection of her character, like Lucille. The mom's called Lucille.
Loose
Then
seal.
there's the loose seal. It's brilliant.
Those new Netflix ones are not as good as the originals, which is fine. I think the newest season's better than the one they did before. But the joke when Tobias gets the license plate and it's a new start and it says Aina Start on the license plate, I think about that joke constantly. I'm always referencing it. I'm always thinking about it.
Tobias is always good.
Yeah.
The problem with, if I remember series 4, which was the first Netflix one, and it may have been one of their very first original shows they did.
Actually, that's probably true. Yeah.
I think it's the structure I didn't quite like about it, because before you had all the characters and they all had their own storylines going on at once.
Yeah.
Whereas this, I think they were all kind of very separate.
It made it feel really long.
They probably couldn't get everybody back.
Yeah, at the same time.
All an entire shoot. But apparently they've re-edited it, but I haven't watched it.
Yeah, I watched the re-edited ones, and it is miles better. It really is actually miles better than the original. But there's just something not so magical about those first 3 seasons of just perfection, like perfecting kind of sitcom writing and joke structure and stuff.
They were on a roll at that point.
Yeah.
And maybe if they carried on then, it would have maintained that quality. But there's such a long gap between it. I think it just kind of lost momentum. I
think there's a good equivalence between like Arrested Development and Community, because Community's got that season when Dan Harmon was fired, and so he had to come back onto the show, redo it. He was losing cast members. He ends up going to Yahoo as the final season, and they do much better than Arrested Development did, and I think it's because Arrested Development in a lot of ways, when they got back to it feels like all Arrested Development's trying to do is do best hits. It feels like it's trying to still roll out the best stuff that you loved before, whereas I feel like Community, it took the elements of it but marched it forward and created new stuff and kind of kept on like bringing new, same comedy but new to it. And I think Arrested Development somehow just a bit stuck in the past with it, so it just feels like, oh, I might as well just watch the first season again, because it's the same jokes and it's gold. Also,
Community, they kind of branched out by doing animated episodes and the video game episodes and stuff like that, so it kind of always kept it a bit fresh. They kept doing bloody paintball episodes though.
Yeah, well, like the lava episode as well, when it's got Mike Ehrmantraut in, because he ends up becoming a cast member. I can't remember, Jonathan Banks, and they embraced that kind of stuff, that new people are coming into it and things, and I think that just works a bit better. And they strengthen the roles of like the principal, the dean, gets a bigger roles throughout this as the series go. And I think Arrested Development just doesn't do that.
Once you start losing main cast members, you do have to then
react
the cast
somehow,
that you've already got. You have to. But I haven't seen past. I've only seen half of series 4, which I believe is the series that Dan Harmon wasn't on.
Yeah.
So I kind of got halfway through that and I kind of stopped. So I probably should go back.
I think it's season 4. I always forget, but it is bad. It's bad compared to the rest of it anyway. But I watched a lot of Community.
But I really like Donald Glover on it, and I was sad to hear that he left it. And Chevy Chase was awesome in it.
Chevy Chase is so good in it, and I know he's a dick, but he's so good in it.
Yeah, but like the D&D episode was a great one.
Oh, it's wonderful. Yeah, it's the best. It's such a good thing to introduce them to as well, and it's such a they do such good. I know Dan Harmon's a genius, but they do such good arcs and such good kind of moments in episodes in like sitcom writing. The Christmas episode, I can't remember, it's called Abed's something Christmas, the one when they're all like claymation, is a wonderful. It's like the best Christmas episode
really
ever made of a show, really, because it just nails it.
It's made to be like one of those like Rudolph or
those 1960s 70s ones,
or the Snowman or whatever they're called, like those kind of Rankin and Bass.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Which we had a Christmas once when we watched all of them in a day, because I've never seen them all before, because it's more of an American thing. I don't really remember them from my childhood at all. We watched them all, and actually it was quite a good Christmas.
Is that like with the Heat Miser and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, and there's
something like that.
Is it Germantown or something? And I can't remember. Frankenmeiser or something. I can't remember.
See, we had like our Christmas specials were like
The Snowman?
They were a bit off the walls. So we had the Snowman, but then it was like Wallace and Gromit
Yeah, that's true.
and
But
stuff like that.
What about the Father Christmas ones when he goes on like holiday and things? Are they classic?
Oh yeah, Another Blooming Christmas. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was the Snow Dog as well.
I saw the Snow Dog for the first time about a year ago. So I don't really like the Snowman. That would be my confession. It kind of annoys me.
It annoys you. Why does it annoy you?
I don't know. I don't know what it is about it that kind of annoys me. I find it really just a bit twee or something. Yeah, I think I just find it a bit twee.
No, I know what you mean, but do you not like the David Bowie intro?
Oh, God, no, don't get me talking about David Bowie because I'm going to upset you again.
When I was a little boy. I can't do it. Can't do David Bowie, but yeah.
What is with his voice? Can someone explain to me David Bowie's voice?
Yeah, it's a bizarre cadence to his voice, isn't it?
He's so musical. He's so like lyrical in this weird, I don't know, like Cockney accent or something that he has. I find it so bizarre. It can't be real. It must be an affectation.
All right, you've already hinted at it, but so Liam sent me a message the other day going, I'm paraphrasing now, but it's something about Labyrinth. You're not liking it, or you don't like David Bowie's songs in it, or you don't like his performance in it.
Oh, I said there isn't a good song in the Labyrinth.
I'm shaking my head. Dance, Magic Dance.
Oh, I'll give you
No?
Dance Magic Dance. That's the best. That's by far the best. That start of that song is annoying though.
What about everything I've done for you? I paint the stars for no one.
Is that the one on the stairs?
Yeah, it's wicked. I've run so far, I can't.
It's so boring.
Shut up! No, it's not. It's great.
I love Labyrinth. That's not the shit. I love Labyrinth. It's fine. I just was watching it the other day with my housemate, and I was just deciding that I don't like any of the music in it. They could get rid of all the music, and it'd be the same for me. It wouldn't.
Apparently, they're coming out with a sequel.
Are they?
So I don't know how that's going to work.
Who's the lead puppet in that? What's his name again?
Oh, Hoggle.
Hoggle. He's such a dick.
Yeah, he's a dick.
It's such a weird character.
But here you go. Here are the songs that he sings in it. So
Okay.
you've got Magic Dance,
Yeah.
Chilly Down, As the World Falls Down, Within
No.
You, and Underground. Down in the underground.
Which is the one they kind of released as a single?
I'm not sure. Would it not be Magic Dance?
No, it wasn't. It's the one on the credits.
Well, As the World Falls Down, is that the one where he's like dancing with her in like the snow globe or whatever, and she's kind of got the
Oh yeah, it probably is. Yeah.
the dress on and stuff?
Is that when she's forgetting?
I think so, yeah. And there's the lady with all the belongings on.
Yes. Yeah. I remember. I know. I watched it 3 days ago. I don't know why I remember.
I mean, it's such a fantastic film. Like, just the visuals of it are amazing.
I love
It's so
that.
good.
My favourite bit of the film is when they're in that really closed set with the little town at the end, and the goblins come to attack them, and they're like fighting the goblins in the little set, and it keeps changing between.
This is where the door merges into a giant beast.
Though it's maybe my brain's not working. It's just before the castle, just before they get to Bowie's castle
Yeah.
at the end, and they keep cutting between the dog being a puppet with a puppet on him, to the dog
Ambrosius,
being a real dog with just like a puppet sewn onto him, and when it cuts the wide with the dog,
I
running,
love that.
and the puppet's
A dog
just like
rides a dog in it.
bouncing behind the face. I was like, this is wonderful. This is Jim Henson at his best.
But yeah, the sequel is going to be directed by Scott Derrickson, who directed the first Doctor Strange and got fired or left the second film.
I didn't know that.
So yeah, but I'm quite curious to see, like, how do you replace David Bowie in that? Like, do you go for another pop star?
That's true. That's a really good point.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, people are saying, oh, you should get who's the one who plays the ancient one in Tilda Swinton? They're like, oh, you need to get her to be, and I'm like, that's a bit of an obvious choice.
That is a bit too obvious.
Don't you want? And don't, like, fine if you want a Goblin Queen, that's fine. But like, don't you want a musician to kind of carry on that tradition? I mean, I know it's only one film, so I mean, tradition probably should be more than one. But
I think you can't separate Labyrinth out the fact it's got music.
Like, do you go for a Lady Gaga, that kind of thing, or?
That's not a bad idea. Lady Gaga's not a bad idea. She might be a bit too serious for that film, though.
Paloma Faith? I don't know.
Paloma Faith?
Someone who's... She's acted.
Okay. Is she popular?
She was the villain in... wasn't she a villain in... I'm sure she was in Gotham or something like that, or one of the Arrowverse shows. I'm sure she was a villain.
I couldn't tell you that. I don't know. I've never...
I haven't watched any of them, so I couldn't say. But
I'm trying to think of pop stars, but like...
Well, she was in She may have been the villain in Batgirl or Pennyworth, something like that.
Okay.
Apparently, they're not recasting that character of... Is it... What's her name in Batgirl? Cassandra Cain.
Cassandra Cain. Yeah, I heard that. That's a really weird choice. That's them hedging their bets that she'll come back.
Do you think so?
It must be, because that's just a dumb choice.
From what I gathered, though, she left because she didn't like hard work.
Yeah, it was too much work, which it probably is a lot of work. So I don't know.
Oh yeah, I mean to do like the way they do shows, they do it like the old way, don't they? Like 20 odd shows a series. Like 20, so
yeah,
you can understand like if you're the main character and you're in every single scene or whatever, it's got to be a lot of work.
Yeah, and it's backbreaking.
It's not like Legends of Tomorrow, which has got like, it's like a cast of at least 6 or 7 of them. If you're the lead, then it's got to be tough. I mean, that's the reason why the guy didn't want to do Arrow anymore, because of the amount of work he had to do.
The only pop star I can think who acts at the moment is, I can never say her name, Awkwafina?
Oh, okay. Aquafina. Is it Aquafina? Or I don't know.
Aquafina? Nora Lum, anyway. She's amazing, and she was really good in The Farewell this year. And Ocean's 8 she was really good in. So I think she can play Barry's character. that's where I'm going with that.
Like,
I've nominated her.
I bet you back in the 80s, I bet you Michael Jackson was considered for Labyrinth. I can see that. Like,
that's so good that he wasn't.
Do you know, to segue into what we're going to talk about today, when they did the Batman soundtrack?
Which one?
For 89, it was Prince.
Yeah.
It was, they originally wanted it to be Prince and Michael Jackson. And Michael Jackson would be the Batman character in the soundtrack, and Prince would be in the Joker or whatever. And that's why when they do like the video, it's like half Batman, half Joker, because originally it was meant to be the two of them. Allegedly, anyway.
That's amazing.
Could you imagine Prince and Michael Jackson? I think the world would have imploded if they got together.
It would have imploded.
We had to deal with several Paul McCartney and Michael Jackson team-ups instead.
Ugh. Don't like either of them. That Prince song, Scott Aukerman really makes me laugh. He always claims that like Bat Dance is his favourite Prince song, and you can never tell. You cannot tell if he's joking or not. Like, so like, the idea that that's someone's favourite Prince song is kind of brilliant to me, though.
Well, Prince is up there as one of my favourite artists of all time. Like, Purple Rain is such an incredible album.
Sure.
The film, not so much. Have you seen the film?
No, I haven't. I haven't seen any of his 3 films, actually.
I tell you what.
He didn't direct that one, though, did he? Yeah.
When we get to 84, you need to watch Purple Rain, because it's just such a bonkers film. But the soundtrack is amazing. Or is it an album? I don't know if it's considered a soundtrack or an album, but either way, it's amazing.
I think it's considered a soundtrack, actually.
But the Batman soundtrack is horrendous. Like, Vicky Waiting is one of the worst songs I've ever heard, and it's just like, ugh.
I've got this kind of appreciation that Prince would just put something out there. Like, he would just record something and go, there we go, that's that. And quite often it was a bit,
It'd be like, get the Daily Telegraph this week, because you get the new Prince album free with it. Do you know what I mean?
Those Daily Telegraph readers are such Prince fanatics. Can't wait to get the new one.
That was the first newspaper that popped in my head. It was probably like the News of the World or something like that. I don't know. I can't imagine Tim Burton being too thrilled of having to have... I'm sure he likes Prince, but I can't imagine him envisaging Prince being one of the focal...
That's an interesting point.
I can't, like, if you look at Batman Returns, there is a Susie and the Banshees song, but it's just all score. There's that like pop song, but I don't think it pops up into the credits until like near the end of the credits.
I think Prince elevates Batman 89 though. I think it does.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I think like the music in like the art gallery heist and stuff like that, and the way Jack Nicholson's playing with that, I always think is really fun. I think it makes Joker.
They definitely use it in a good way. It's not egregious in that it's just slapped over the film. It's like What's the term where you can have music is either it's on top of the film or it's within the film.
Okay.
I can't remember the two. It's going to drive me nuts because I used to teach it when I was a teacher. Christ, what's it called?
So it happens all the time.
So the two different types of sound are diegetic sound and non-diegetic sound. So diegetic sound is a sound whose source is visible on screen or whose source is implied to be present by the action of the film. So like the voices of the characters, sounds made by objects, music coming from an instrument in the story or space, like source music. Non-diegetic sound is sound whose source is neither visible on screen nor has been implied to be present in the action. So commentary or sound effects which is added for the dramatic effect, so like the wee woo bow, all those kind of cartoony effects, I guess, and like mood music, so like the score and stuff like that. But anyway, yeah, so Tim Burton was clever enough to use it that it's on a boombox or it's the music blaring out during the parade sequence, and it wasn't so egregious.
Yeah, it's great in the parade.
Whereas the film we're going to talk about today has lots of music drops.
Yes, it does. Yes, it really does.
In fact, actually, no. I tell a lie. The only time the Susie and the Banshee song is in Batman Returns, I think it's during the ball, which again makes sense because you would have music being played at a ball. So
I don't remember the music in Batman Returns. I can just remember it in Batman '89, really. So riddle me this, Ollie, Cape Crusader. I don't know what to say. What is the beginning of eternity, the end of time and space, the beginning of every end, and the end of every race?
Is it an E?
The letter E from mystery. And talking of a mystery, we've got a great mystery this week in Batman Forever.
A doozy of a mystery.
Doozy of a mystery. We don't actually. There's no mystery in this film. I don't know why I said that. Anyway, here's the trailer, boys. Boys? Babe? I don't know. No one boys. It's because they say boys in this film constantly. Tommy Lee Jones is kind of like, get 'em, boys! all the time.
Riddle me this, riddle me that. Who's afraid of the big black bat?
In an uncertain world, in a chaotic time, justice wears a mask.
Was good. His was better.
Courage now. Truth always. Batman Forever.
Batman Forever. We need to get some context for Batman Forever. You start.
I mean, first of all, this film is 25 years old. But yes, so before we get into it then, Liam, what's your history with Batman? Like, what was your early exposures to the character and, growing up?
I think it's apart from really Batman 66, it would have to just be in comics, really. Because I don't know when I saw Batman 89. I can't imagine I saw it much before this film came out, because it's a pretty hard kind of.
I'm pretty sure it was a 15 in the UK on video.
Is it a 15?
I think.
I was thinking it might be an 18.
Yeah, pretty sure. No, it wasn't an 18.
Is Batman Returns also a 15?
It was on video. At the cinema it was a 12, but for some reason they didn't release 12 rated films until Ace Ventura on VHS. They would release it as a 15. So Batman 89 may have been a 12 at the cinema, and then it was a 15. I'm not sure.
So I'm not totally sure I would have seen them much before this, because 1995 this came out, so I don't think I would have seen it too long before this film came out. I definitely saw this at the cinema. Definitely.
Well, we saw it together. It was me, you, and Rob. I know that. I've still got the ticket stub. That's how pathetic I am. But yeah, my history's pretty much the same. Like, you know, I think Batman 89 was on a lot during the Batman 66, the TV series, was on during like the 80s. Like, it would be like on BBC Two, it'd be that, then Happy Days. And then I remember Batman 89 being like massive at the time, and I was too young to go and see it. But I remember getting some of the toys. Like, there was only a few of them. Like, you could get Bob the Goon, the Joker, and Batman. That was
Bob
it.
the Goon.
And then some of the vehicles. And we were friends with this family who owned a pizza shop, and they had like all Ninja Turtle stuff in the window. Like, you know, they had the action figures, but they were giant size action figures that were massive. That's besides the point. But they'd constantly get bootlegs. So, like, I got to go and see the Ninja Turtle film at their house. They had this satellite dish in their garden. I'm not joking. It was the size of a house. It was ginormous. It could pick up TV signals from America. It was ridiculous.
like in Stay Tuned, that film.
Yeah, it was like that flipping satellite dish. And they invited me round once to watch Batman, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle film when that came out, and I got to see it uncut because it was the American version, so it had all nunchucks and stuff like that. But they also got a copy of Batman 89 before it came out in the UK, and it was
Ollie's illegal VHS network.
It was a proper camcorder in the cinema job, so you could see the back of people's heads. They were constantly coughing, or you'd see them chewing popcorn, or they'd get up to go to the toilet. It was constantly seeing that in it. And
didn't the first copy of Spider-Man we saw was that?
That was quite a good version, though, to be fair. I remember like coming round to your house. I'm like, "What are you up to tonight?" I was like, and you were like, "I'm not going out. I don't want to go out. I'm just going to stay." I was like, "That's good, because I want to stay in too, because I've got Spider-Man." But anyway,
we bought it off a dodgy person at the market.
Yeah, but it was a good copy. That was actually like a copy from the proper master, whereas this was like,
I seem to remember
it was so dark you could barely see. All you could see was the Joker's face, and that was it, because it was the only white thing in the film. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, then I properly got into Batman then, like, massively, and would get like the comic books or steal my cousin's comic books. And
I was thinking, when did TAS come out? Or is it not? Is it called TAS? Yeah, like the animated show, the Bruce Timm animated show. So
that came out just after, like, probably the same summer as Batman Returns, which I went to see at the cinema. And like, so that was a massive Batman year. That was.
Yeah.
Like,
I think the animated series would have been much bigger for me than the films, I reckon. I would have seen them before this, but
it was more accessible. It was on like Saturday morning cartoons, and it was such a fantastic show.
Yeah, brilliant.
And it still holds, like, the best episodes still hold up today. And
like, what are the best episodes of that, really? I can think of a couple in my head.
Best episodes of that. There's one with Almost Had Him, where there's all the villains around a table.
That's what I was thinking.
Stories about how
they
almost like how they almost got Batman.
Yeah.
And then you find out that one of the villains is actually Batman in disguise, and then he just punches them all in the face.
Very Samurai Jack, the episode is.
Yeah. There's a very good one from this, like this, because you know how it was the Batman animated series, and then it became the New Adventures of Batman. They kind of changed the style a bit.
Then it wasn't it the New Adventures of Batman and Robin? Didn't they change it again?
Probably, yeah, something like that. But yeah, so when they redesigned it, they did a great episode where you think Batgirl gets killed and Bane's in it, and you think he kills Batman and stuff like that. It's quite messed up, and then you find out it's the Scarecrow who's
I remember that
behind it all. But the Mr. Freeze episodes are some of the best ones.
Yeah. They actually kind of almost invented that character, I think, in a large way.
Oh yeah, I mean, they take that pretty much and put it in Batman and Robin. I mean, they bastardize it massively, but they pretty much took.
They try and do it in their own way.
Yeah, because I don't think the Nora Fries stuff was in the original text or whatever of Mr.
I think
Freeze.
he always had a dead. I think he always had a dead wife. I just don't think they actually played him as this kind of like slightly broken romantic character. Kind of.
Right. Okay.
I think that's what TAS really did. What Bruce Timm sorry, what's the author's name?
Baldini.
Paul Dini really gets kind of grip with it and really reinvents that Mr. Freeze to a great character. And of course he invents Harley Quinn as well. That's another thing that comes out.
Massively. Who I think in Batman Forever, which we're going to talk about, I think two of the characters in that are massively inspired by Harley Quinn, I reckon.
Oh, I'm interested to hear that.
Because, Two-Face has got his two little sidekicks.
Yes.
They're called
Sugar and Spice.
Apparently they were going to be called Leather and Lace. But Warner Brothers wouldn't allow a character to be called Leather, so they changed it to Sugar and Spice. But yeah, so then, and then in '95, so Batman Returns Batman '89 did really, really well. It made tons of money.
One of the biggest films of all time.
Batman Returns did make a lot of money, but not as much money as.
It was considered a flop by the studio. That's what we kind of have to get into a little bit, because I think it's really interesting that nowadays Batman Returns is kind of the argument whether is it better than '89 for when people start talking about this, because it's really lauded as one of a great kind of auteur kind of superhero films, but at the time people weren't happy with it. It was a bit too weird. It was a bit too off-putting. It wasn't a kids' film. It wasn't trying to be a kids' film, and because of that, the studio couldn't market it. And more importantly than that, they couldn't market the merchandise. So the kind of story of Batman Returns is the fact that McDonald's had paid an absolute shed load of money for the merchandise rights, and they couldn't kind of put, they couldn't put Danny DeVito Penguin with goo dripping out of his mouth and feeling at women as a Happy Meal toy, or even the kind of, it's light S&M, but the Catwoman portrayal is an S&M type character, and they were struggling putting that into kind of a the Catmobile cars and stuff like that. So basically parents were complaining to McDonald's and other kind of things that this film isn't for kids and you shouldn't be kind of marketing it that way. And it's really...
I was 8 years old when that came out, and I loved it. I loved Batman Returns. I thought it was amazing.
I did too. I remember really liking that.
But then again, I probably hadn't seen many films at that point. And so anything I saw at the cinema was amazing.
Well, we both loved Tim Burton though, even if we didn't know it. And I think,
because I think we would have seen Beetlejuice by then.
Definitely.
We'd obviously seen Batman.
Scissorhands.
So we were probably aware of who he was.
Yeah.
And probably Pee-wee, maybe.
Probably, yeah, probably. But that kind of, and Batman's a bit kind of murdery in it as well. So when it kind of came to negotiations for the third Tim Burton film, which I think there's rumours out there that it was going to be called Batman Continues, which is a very bad title, so I don't think it would have been called that.
It's a shit name. Batman Returns is okay, I'll let that pass.
Yeah. He hated the title Batman Forever. He has actually gone on record saying he thinks it's an awful title, so that we wouldn't have been called that. But he wanted to have... it never got past script stage, it's important to say, but I think it's really interesting that he didn't get to make a third film, because Tim Burton wasn't trained on franchise filmmaking. Tim Burton is... Do not misconstrue Tim Burton. He's a franchise filmmaker. He loves making franchise films. He wanted to make
every single film he's made, apart from maybe two, is based on an original existing property.
Yeah. The biggest problem with Tim Burton's career is he lost Batman and couldn't find something to replace it. So after Batman, he tries to go to Superman, can't really nail it. He does bloody Planets of the Apes, which is an absolute catastrophe. And then he just starts bouncing through Roald Dahls and Disney remakes because he's trying to find something that he can make a franchise film again.
Do you think he would have made Batman 3 if he could have?
Yeah, he absolutely would have.
If he wasn't fired?
Yeah, he absolutely would have. And I think it's really weird that we forget that Tim Burton made these two iconic films and actually got fired from it. He didn't quit, he didn't walk away. They kind of pushed him out the door because they wanted to bring someone in who would sell toys to McDonald's. And that really is the entire story of this, is that Tim Burton would have happily made another one, but he went to the meeting and they were like, "Are you sure you want to make a Batman, Tim? What about one of your littler films? Why don't you try this?" And he wanted to make Ed Wood, obviously, and he makes Mars Attacks, but he would have happily gone on to make another Batman. And who knows what that
the
would
toys for Batman Returns were bizarre because they were like Scuba Batman, Arctic Blizzard Batman, and they had like bright yellow suits, and it's like, doesn't really represent the film that it's selling.
At
Like
all.
it's like just like bizarre repaints and stuff like that. It was weird. I mean, even the Penguin figure looked nothing like Danny DeVito. It was just like a repaint of like the old Superpowers Penguin toy, just like in a black and red colour scheme as opposed to like the blue and yellow, where he looked like just like the traditional comic book version. But
because of Tim Burton's kind of eye as well, it had cost the studio a lot of money. So we'll talk about this because they're both things that comes up in Forever. But the casting of Billy D. Williams and the casting of Marlon Wayans as Robin are two things that are meant to go ahead into Batman Returns. Robin was written into Batman Returns. He gets cut at very last second. That's the reason there's no Batman in Batman Returns. It's because they basically cut this huge subplot of him and Robin and them fixing the Batmobile. Marlon Wayans gets paid for Batman Returns. He gets paid for Batman Forever because he's actually scripted to do to both of those films. And Billy D. Williams, who's in the first Batman, Batman 89, playing Harvey Dent. By the time he was meant to play Harvey Dent in Batman Returns, the studio say they don't want a black Harvey Dent, so they end up paying Billy D. Williams out of that contract, and the script gets rewritten to take Harvey Dent out of the script, and they put Max Schreck in it as well, which is Christopher Walken. And the whole thing at the end of Batman Returns, when he gets electrocuted with a taser with Catwoman when they're kissing, that was meant to be the origin story for Two-Face, and that was meant to go on to be Two-Face in Batman Forever. So I think because of these two big casting choices that Tim Burton had kind of pushed and wanted to push forward, the studio again were losing money on something that they weren't representing on screen. And especially with the Robin character. They do end up bringing Robin in this, but it's not Marlon Wayans. And I think with all that kind of adding together, the studio just wanted to get rid of him. They didn't want him there at all, and they start just looking for a director to come on board, really.
Well, it's like going back to Batman and Batman Returns. They're barely even a sequel. It's like barely even a sequel to the first one. I think there's like one mention of Vicky Vale.
Yeah.
And obviously the Batmobile is the same, and Alfred and Commissioner Gordon's in it, but the whole world feels radically different.
Yeah.
It's not like, you know, they're all filmed on sets anyway, weren't they? I think Batman and Batman Returns, but they're night and day the way they look and the way they feel, I think.
Yeah, and Batman Returns just gets this kind of closed snow globe effect to it, really, that makes it feel like people call it a Christmas film.
I think
because of that.
It's a beautiful film. It looks stunning. Like the cinematography is sublime, and it's just. I think it's still a beautiful film. I think Batman '89 looks a bit scrappier.
Yeah, I like the look of Batman '89 though.
I do as well. But it's definitely more of a popcorn film.
Yeah.
You know, you've got Jack Nicholson lording it up as the Joker, like giggling all around the place, but then in the second one, you've got Danny DeVito going like spewing out black vomit everywhere, and then it's like a very horny film.
Yes, incredibly horny film.
But I think Batman Forever is even hornier because everybody's horny in that film. You've got Nicole Kidman's horny for Batman, for Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne's horny for her.
Nicole Kidman and Val Kilmer have the least screen kind of, what do you call it, screen attraction, screen chemistry that I've ever seen between like those two kind of characters. They're saying the lines that are meant to be sexy and attractive, but they have nothing going on. Like, it's such a the love triangle in this film.
Also, going back to horniness, like Jim Carrey's obsessed with Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Two-Face is obsessed with I don't know. Anyway, but like,
what is Two-Face?
So if we start, it's why is Two-Face even in this film? Like the whole marketing was all based around the Riddler. Like
Two-Face doesn't need to be in this film.
He's like such a strong character. Yeah. Not in this film.
No, in this.
But, I mean,
he's hilarious. Mythos. He doesn't
constantly flipping the coin. Like the whole point is he flips it once, and whatever it lands on, he decides whether the person lives or dies. But no, he'll keep flipping it until he gets what he wants.
He doesn't even flip the coin that much in it. Like most of the time, he's just a henchman. Well, not a henchman. He's basically just a mob boss.
Well, he basically becomes the Riddler's henchman.
A little bit, yeah.
At the end of the day,
like, does Tommy Lee Jones, is he doing the Joker in this?
Yeah, definitely. It's like he saw what his pal Jack did in the first film, and just all
wants
he
to do
does
that
is
right.
cackle and laughs the whole way through, and
he
like,
kind of skips
what are you
around
doing?
the room, doesn't he, and stuff like.
But you can tell he's definitely Jim Carrey scared him in that film, because Jim Carrey, for me, he rules that film. He's the most entertaining part of that film.
He's the best thing about
Everybody
it,
in this film is in a different film.
God, yes.
Tommy Lee Jones is trying to be in Jim Carrey's film and failing on all accounts because he's not a comedian. He's trying to, for some reason, he's trying to be funny. Laughing all the time does not equate to being funny.
Yeah, I don't
understand it.
I applaud Tommy Lee Jones's energy in this film, but I am totally confused why the performance exists. It doesn't need
Wouldn't
it.
it have
in
worked
the
better
slightest.
if he was more annoyed by the Riddler all the time and he was the more subdued one?
If he was more serious and if he was more...
That would have been an interesting dynamic, not just them both trying to out-laugh each other all the time.
Riddler in this is massively like Frank Gorshin kind of approved.
Oh,
right?
yeah, all over the shop, yeah.
And do you know how it's quite famous that the Two-Face was never in the 60s series?
Yeah.
Doesn't this just feel like...
I thought it was too horrific.
Yeah. Doesn't this feel like someone sat down and went, what if Two-Face was in the 60s series? What would he have been? And they just
100%.
did this whatever this is. Like, whatever this performance is. With the pink face and the wild hair and the cackling and the gang. He's gang with, like, balaclavas on and stuff.
Piercings all over the shop.
Yeah. It's so weird.
Right, so if we go to the beginning, so we'll start at the beginning. So the first scene is
we can't start at the beginning. I want to mention one thing before we get into that.
All right.
Because I think there's two things about the casting which I think are really cool. Because Robin Williams was meant to again be the Riddler in this, and
well, because he was used as a bargaining tool for the first one, wasn't he? And got pissed off.
Yeah, because the studio told him he was going to be Joker, and used that just to get Jack Nicholson on board, which is so shitty. So he got promised the role as Riddler basically by Tim Burton before the script came up, and he was meant to have like a shaved question mark head or something. That was
don't you think? You know the puppet. That
looks like
that. Looks like Robin Williams. It does. I think. Don't you think?
Yeah, it does definitely. And the only other thing that from this film that never got made, but I just think kind of interesting, is that Brad Dourif, who you might remember from...
He voiced Chucky?
Yeah, and he's Wormtongue in Lord of the Rings and stuff like that. He was meant to be the Scarecrow, and Tim Burton had approached him to play the Scarecrow in this, which...
Okay.
That would have been interesting.
Probably make more sense. It would have made more sense with the whole subplot of Bruce
Wayne
Wayne
stuff and the psychology.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It would have fitted in.
Because Two-Face doesn't fit into any of that kind of... that side of the story at all.
Two-Face's film in this is so weird. It's so just... It's so out of place compared to what the actual story.
Right, just give me 2 seconds. I'm just going to have a quick wee.
Sure.
Sorry about that.
No problem. Do you want a riddle?
That was an Austin Powers style wee, that was. It didn't end.
The two references for Austin Power, the pissing and the getting stuck in a corridor.
And then the reversing.
Two things that would live forever.
Go on, give me a riddle.
I'll give you a riddle. Riddle me this. What has branches and leaves and no bark? Is that right?
What
has branches and leaves and no bark?
I don't know what has...
I'm not sure I get this one. Apparently it's a library. Moving on.
All right. Okay. So let's kind of
bash through the plot.
Bash through the plot. So the very first scene is very telling on the way they want this film to go. It's the first line is made to go on a McDonald's advert or a Burger King advert, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
It's like, do you remember? Did you ever see the old advert for Batman '89? It's Alfred with a can of Coke.
No, I haven't seen that.
I can kind of picture Alfred in an advert going, "Can I persuade you to take a sandwich with you, sir?"
He's got a bag of Burger King,
and then he'll be like, "I've already got you one." And he's got a bag of, or it's the Batmobile drives through a McDonald's drive-through or something. I can just picture it.
and
I bet it exists.
Some person at the drive-through stall is like hamming it up. Here you go. Chicks love the car. Whatever it is, chicks dig the car.
Can I persuade you to take a sandwich with you, sir?
I'll get drive-through. Introducing McDonald's Superhero Burger. Tomatoes, crisp lettuce, the great taste of 2 cheeses melted over 3 beef patties on a superhero bun. It's McDonald's Taste of the Month. Everyone's making a break for.
Welcome to McDonald's. May I take your order?
It's the first line in the film, and it's like you can just see the level. I mean, first of all, I'm gonna backtrack again now. Did you enjoy watching it?
I'm going to backtrack more.
Okay.
So I need to talk. I need to talk about something before that first scene, because my first note is the Warner Bros. Logo transforms into Batman. Fuck yeah! And then the opening credits, when the names are flying past the screen. Didn't that look like a Microsoft screensaver to you?
Oh, 100% massively.
Like,
the ones that we'd have,
this?
Oh god.
Anyway,
when I discovered you could do that on Windows 95, it was the best day of one of my summers for sure. But
you'd write rude words into it.
Oh, 100%. Or you do it on your friends on the sly, so that you.
Yeah. When they go to pee.
When you go home.
When you're doing Spider-Man Movie Maker, and they go to get a drink.
So yeah, the first scene is also accompanied by the first like suit up scene. So I'm sure you get.
Oh God, you do.
Bat butt, bat crotch.
My my notes here say straight into Batman, bat crotch, take a sandwich, rubber creaking, Batmobile. That's my order.
They make a note in this one and Batman and Robin of saying that the suit is made out of rubber.
Yeah.
Where I'm sure in Batman 89 it's some sort of Kevlar. It's like armor.
Yeah,
No,
it's
in
meant to be
this
armor.
it's just straight up rubber.
But you hear it all the time. You hear him constantly.
I know.
That noise of rubber moving. I can't do a noise of rubber impression. I'm not fucking Micah Winslow. But
what are your thoughts on the nipples? I know everybody's got an opinion on the nipples. What's
they're
your...
so stupid. What surprised me was the suit that he puts on at the end of the film doesn't have nipples. That surprised me.
I actually like that suit. I quite like that one.
It's got a
But
big
yet
old
Robin
crotch.
has nipples,
Robin's one has nipples.
so it doesn't make sense.
And a big old crotch
Yeah.
as well.
So we're meant to believe that Alfred makes these suits.
Yes, absolutely.
And so he's the one who puts the nipples on them.
He is.
And
Absolutely.
okay, I've made costumes before. I know how long costumes take to make. How long these kinds of costumes take to make. You'd have to make full body casts of Chris O'Donnell, Robin. Then you have to get a neoprene bodysuit.
Yeah, you couldn't do it without them knowing.
Yeah, like Harry makes Batgirls in in Batman and Robin. I have no
I
idea.
need to talk about that. We need to go there right now. When you might have forgotten if you haven't watched Batman and Robin for a long time, but Alfred kind of dies and gets turned into an AI in part of the film, and then computer Max Headroom Alfred talks to Batgirl
with glitches.
with glitches. Yes, he keeps glitching. Gives Alfred. No, so it gives Batgirl it gives Alicia Silverstone her new Batgirl costume, and she
With nipples,
very tight, and she goes, "Brilliant, suit me up, Uncle Alfred," or something, or "zip me up, Uncle Alfred," or something. Like, what? Where are we? Where are we in this film now? Oh, these films are to themselves.
I tell you what though, I watched Batman Forever 3 times. I watched it twice, once on my own, and then the day after I was watching the bonus features. And Caroline was like, "Oh, what are you watching?" I was like, "Oh, the Batman Forever bonus features." "Oh, can we watch Batman Forever tonight?" And I'm like thinking,
No,
go on. But do you know what? I actually enjoyed it. I did not hate watching it again.
no,
I kind of enjoyed it,
kind of,
and
yeah.
I kind of enjoyed watching Batman and Robin. Believe it or not.
Yeah,
Like, it felt like a shitty Sunday afternoon film that I kind of just put on and it just flew over me. But it was quite fun. And like,
they're certainly just.
it just felt like an episode of the Batman '66 series.
That's it. That's the biggest
modern
takeaway from
air
this
quotes.
is that I didn't realise this at the time, but this is definitely Schumacher just making Batman '66 in the 90s.
Which he says in the commentary track. He
Does
said,
he?
"Oh, it never crossed my mind in the slightest that this is what I was making." I was like, "It's night and day."
It's night and day.
I think
The,
Batman Forever, you can make the argument no, because it's a film that doesn't quite know what tone it wants to hit. It's
Batman Forever is definitely coming off the back of Tim Burton. That's why I think it's important to remember that Tim Burton made the previous films. I think the Riddler stuff in Batman Forever is very Tim Burton-y, and I can imagine Tim Burton doing that. I know that Tim Burton didn't have a script, but I can imagine the kind of the brainwave stuff and the playing with television and things and putting television to mind. Tim Burton would do that and would do it in a real way. But everything else about this film, the clothes sets, the kind of gangs that are all dressed in matching colours,
the sound effects, like the bings and the bombs and the wee.
Yeah, they all do that constantly. The fact that he has a giant bomb that basically has bomb written on it that he takes to the circus. Like it's so
and like
Batman
in
66.
Batman and Robin, like this, you know, the fight scenes where in the Batman 66 where they'll have a prop and they'll punch through it and then they'll punch someone's face through the
and then
prop.
Robin
They
will
do
grab
that kind of
something
stuff.
at top and do a swing kick.
Yeah, they do all that kind of stuff. Even Elliot Goldenthal's score is pretty much aping the 66 series with its kind of like over the top kind of bombastic music. But yeah, okay. So going back to the beginning, so then the first scene is Two-Face Harvey Dent.
Well, I was going to say he
trying to rob a bank.
exits the Batcave like it's 1966. Like
he does, doesn't he? Actually?
A little back door down some roads, and then the first thing it cuts to is like the Bat logo on the wheels of the cars. It really gives you like a zoom in on the Bat logo on the wheels.
It's like all it's branded.
Yeah, and it
Whereas
just immediately was
the
like,
Burton one
this
wasn't.
is merchandise. Buy this. You want to own this Batcave set that has this Batmobile in it that's all shiny and you can turn it on and it glows, and it feels so merchandisey to me.
So you know there was a scene deleted at the beginning where you see Two-Face escaping Arkham.
Oh, okay. No.
And I think he's at the end. You know, the kind of the Arkham kind of, I don't know what he is, like kind of doctor.
Oh, yeah. Do you know who that's played
Isn't that
by?
Odo?
Yeah,
is it Odo?
Yeah, totally. Rennie
Trek.
Oldenburg. Oh, God. I never say it correctly every time I think I'm going to say it. Oldenburg.
R.I.P. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, died not long ago. Wonderful guy, wonderful
not long
actor.
ago.
Yeah. Oh, I never knew it was
But
he was in this. I only just found that out when I watched it the other day.
But yeah, if you go on YouTube and if you ever read the comic book, there's a whole bit about Two-Face escaping and how he escapes. I don't think you actually see him escape, but you kind of see the aftermath of his escape.
Like a spinning newspaper or something.
Yeah, it was just like blood written on. There's blood written on the wall that says "Kill the Bat" or something like that.
They needed that. They needed that. I'm sorry, this film needed.
You know
that.
when? So during the bank heist, just before the,
I think the bank heist might be one of the best Batman scenes ever made.
Yeah, but the scene prior to that where Batman lands in front of Commissioner Gordon and Chase Meridian, the conversation is the worst because it's one of those "I'm going to finish your sentence" kind of conversations.
But they don't. They have
and it's
no.
the timing is terrible and it's so awkward.
No, there's no dialogue in this film which isn't like quippy. Every single line is quip, 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 quip. Flirty, flirty, quip, quip, flirty, flirty. Like between every character, no matter if it's Batman, Alfred, Two-Face, Commissioner Gordon, like Riddler, like it's all the dialogue. There's no dialogue that isn't that. It's so weird. It's like you slowly go mad watching it, going, "Is this how people talk? Am I wrong? Is this how I'm meant to talk in real life?"
So yeah, then Batman goes up the escalator, and I don't know if you the lift. I wish he went up an escalator. But I don't know if you noticed, but there's loads of. I was watching. This is the first time I've watched this in about 15, 20 years.
Yeah, I can't remember.
There's loads of lines of dialogue that I don't remember, and it's because a lot of it was cut out of the UK version. So any mention of toothpaste. So any mention of Two-Face saying like,
"Clean up, Batman. Toothpaste is here."
Yeah, whenever he says something about murdering or whatever like that, it's always cut out. So there's loads of scenes like that
No
cut out.
way.
There's a bit where the Riddler, before he's the Riddler, and he kills his boss, and he like is in his chair and he falls out the window. But there's a bit where he's kind of half hanging out the window.
Yeah.
And then I think Nigma pulls off his helmet and then he falls.
He's
That's
Back
not
to
in
the
the
Future
UK.
helmet thing.
That wasn't in the original UK version. That was cut out.
Oh.
So yeah, bizarre. Anyway, so then Batman has a fight scene, doesn't he? With
Is everything in this film shot at a Dutch angle? It's
oh yeah, everything is like the '66 show. It's all canted angles and stuff.
Everything, even when it's not needed, it's like
Schumacher keeps saying, "I'm making a comic book." That's what he keeps saying on the director's commentary. We're making a comic book.
I don't know what you're making, Schumacher, but wait, you made this. This is what you made. No one else.
It's the way Batman runs off after that fight that makes me laugh, because he just does this really pathetic little run around a corner, and it just looks so awkward.
Everything's so, like they will not do this with Batman anymore. But one thing I loved about this film is how Batman exists in the city. Like he'll go to a party, or he'll go to like a ball.
Oh yeah, like in Batman Returns, Batman and Robin, he goes to that party with the gorilla. Bane's dressed up as a gorilla, and they're like auctioning off.
They're auctioning off ladies because
Yeah. What do you think of the boiling acid guy, the security guard?
This security guard. If I could play a character in a film, I'd like to play this guy.
I love how Commissioner Gordon calls him a young man when he's got a hearing aid and he's like a proper old dude.
He has so many lines that I don't understand. Did he win a competition? I don't understand why.
It's boiling acid.
It's boiling acid.
Hey,
that's my hearing aid.
It's supposed to be the same acid that caused Two-Face to have like his Two-Face.
So this guy would have had pink feet then if he'd got his feet in there. That's when he's going, oh dear, my shoes are melting.
Yeah.
And it's just dangling on a rope, aren't they? They rob the whole vault, don't they? And a thing.
Yeah. And then Batman with his little grappling gun, somehow the whole thing manages to go back in place.
Straight back in where
perfectly
it was.
back in
Perfect.
place.
And everyone's like, oh, he solved that. Finished.
Yeah, and then I think you've got your first like CGI city or first CGI like Batman like kind of dangling off the helicopter.
Yeah, because isn't the Statue of Liberty here?
Yeah, is it? Well, it says Gotham on top. I didn't know if it was meant to be Lady Liberty, because I always thought that was like the statue that was in Gotham City, but I guess it's pretty much New York, isn't it, really? I think some of it's even filmed in New York.
I didn't know they filmed this on a street anywhere.
Because you see the Brooklyn Bridge in it in some scenes and stuff like that. But,
did you go there?
I did.
There we go.
I had a bagel by it.
Segment on our podcast is important. And then it's straight into Ed Nigma, isn't it? Aren't we?
Well, there's the fight with Two-Face gets away, and then the helicopter blows up in the face of the Statue of Liberty.
You know,
but it doesn't destroy the statue face. It just blows up the.
Does he jump out the helicopter?
Yeah, Batman jumps out just in time.
No, I'm thinking of in Batman and Robin. Because we watched both of them. We're not going to go through Batman and Robin beat by beat, but you know the start of Batman and Robin when Mr. Freeze is in a rocket or something. I don't know why he's in the air.
Yeah.
He's in the air. Yeah, he's going to.
Oh, because he's going to. I think he's planning to kill it. He's trying to kill people in the city, because once it explodes, it's going to unleash something. And, but I think it explodes anyway. So
yeah, it does explode anyway. That's why I was getting confused. But he jumps out of the rocket and he has little Mr. Freeze wings that he flies off with.
Yeah. And then you've got some extreme
extreme airboarding or something. Yeah. There's Batman and Robin.
Sick, bro. Sick. It's sick.
Sick. It was so extreme. And they're quipping all the way.
Yeah, I think you're right. The next scene is the first Edward Nigma scene where Bruce Wayne, to be fair, he kind of says, "Look, give me a full proposal and we'll consider it and we'll talk about it." But his own ego, he's like, "No, I want an answer now."
I need it
it's
now.
like, well, you fucked yourself over there.
I don't know why he's making this. I don't understand what he's making. I don't understand why there's a super helmet that controls them. If you're just making a 3.
I think you're thinking too hard about. It's basically just a visual. it's more for storytelling, I guess, as opposed to putting on. Because I guess the whole idea is that they've got this thing that attaches the head, because the side effect is that he can suck out their information from their brain. Then,
but it's a side. They make it clear in the script it's a side effect, and he wasn't trying to do that.
So he
but
needs
I just don't know
something
why.
with a transmitter that can kind of.
So he thought basically there was going to be a person that had to just sit in a room transmitting TV to people. Was that his invention?
I guess so. It wasn't very well thought out. But so yeah, we find out he's clearly obsessed with Bruce Wayne. There's all pictures of Bruce Wayne in his office. I don't know why he's obsessed with Bruce Wayne. They don't really exactly explain why he is.
I've written here chair shoot, and I don't know what that means. So I just want to tell you that's in my notes.
Is that where chair shoot? Is that because when the boss because basically he gets fired, doesn't he? And then his boss catches him still in the office working on his Nigmatech box, and then tries it
must
out.
Be. It must be because of that bit.
And of all the most interesting things they watch a fisherman.
Oh God, yeah. And he's absolutely transfixed by the fact there's a fish in front of his face,
dangling in front of his face. Yeah. Then Nigma kills him.
Then you have a Chase Meridian. Chase Meridian puts the bat sign on to get Batman to come to her. For the entire reason.
I was really confused at first. I was like, how does she get on top of the Gotham City Police Department headquarters? And then I realised later on in the film, her office is in the GCPD. Yeah,
geography of the film.
Bruce Wayne walks in there at some point.
Oh, he does, doesn't he? Yeah. Yeah.
And then breaks the door down.
That
scene is like, she's so horny and randy for him in that scene.
I wrote here, is this how sexy adults talk to each other?
She does look sexy, though. Apparently, according to the commentary track, Warner Brothers didn't want her because she wasn't sexy enough. And I was thinking...
Rennie Russo was cast until they cast Val Kilmer. And then they decided she was too old and got rid of her.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But she's another person that got paid for this film.
But she wasn't exactly old when...
No, this is absolute studio thing. Like, it's
weird. So that means Batman has dated 2 of Tom Cruise's ex-wives.
That's true. This that scene, she literally on that rooftop, she does it just to tell Batman that Two-Face has a coin.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, I know.
And he's like, yeah, I know he's got a coin. and then Commissioner Gordon runs up in his pants. Like,
yeah,
what's going on here?
But like, she's up there in her negligee. It's like it's bizarre. So it's so odd.
Yeah, because she's horny for Batman, and Batman is not a person, and Bruce Wayne is horny for her.
Yeah.
And she doesn't think about Bruce Wayne, even though she goes on multiple dates with him for some reason.
And then keeps saying to him, I want to get close, but you won't let me near. Yet you've just said how much you love Batman. Like,
yeah.
It's like, what you're
And Bruce Wayne gets jealous of Batman during this. Oh, we might as well get there. He quits being Batman in this film. I didn't remember that.
Well, he quits. It's like the same as Superman 2. He quits for all of 5
seconds. It's incredible. I was watching it going, what? Like, this is in this film?
Like, if I remember in Superman 2, he goes to the Fortress of Solitude. He says to... I don't even know if it's his dad or if it's his mom at that point, because I can't remember if... I don't think Marlon Brando's in the second one. I think it might be his mom. I can't remember. But he goes, I don't want these powers anymore. I want to be human.
Yeah.
Goes to a bar, a cafeteria, gets beaten up, and he's like, "Oh, I want to be Superman again now." That was the extent of it.
It sucks being nerdy. I want to be Superman again.
Yeah, and in this one, like, well, there was a whole thing cut out of this though, where I think Bruce gets amnesia after being shot in the head by Two-Face, and he has to go back in the cave where he first encountered the bats, which kind of inspired him to become Batman. and that's where he finds a giant bat. Whether or not it's real or not, I'm assuming it's more like the cave in Empire Strikes Back, more like a vision kind of thing. And it's this giant human-sized bat, and they kind of both put their arms up in like a winged position, and he's like, "I am Batman," and then he comes out, and he's like, "I'm ready to kick ass as Batman again, Alfred. Suit me up." And then he's like, he goes, "Which one should I do, Alf? Which one should I do, sea or air?" And then Robin's like, "Why not both?"
Oh, why not both? We skip it too far ahead.
Yeah, I know, but okay, let's go back.
Because I just need to say because the suicide scene after Jim Carrey does loads of Jim Carrey-ness, he writes the suicide note for his boss, and it's in the form of an email. Because that's the only writing he ever saw his boss do. And Commissioner Gordon just goes, "Yep, it's definitely a suicide." That's done.
Yes. Yep. Case closed.
Why is Commissioner Gordon investigating this? Why is the police commissioner?
He's so useless. He's so
weird.
I don't understand. They should have just given him the Irish guy from 66.
Yeah,
what's his name?
They definitely should have. They definitely should have. That would improve this film.
Do you know who's in that scene in the background in the boardroom scenes?
No.
John Favreau.
Oh no way! Really?
Johnny Favs is in that scene.
Favs.
Yeah, it's just an extra.
Just an extra. That's cool.
Yeah. So what precedes? So after the rooftop.
After the rooftop, then you go back to Edward Nygma's apartment.
Okay, yeah.
And that apartment is a horror world. I don't understand.
It's so narrow.
Who is the question mark guy in the world?
Well, that's what I don't get. Does it already? So that must exist, unless he made that himself.
He can't.
Or it exists.
He's got
already.
multiple things of it, like bobbleheads and stuff, doesn't he?
So he's risking copyright infringement by becoming this character anyway. So like, I don't get it.
I don't get it. That computer thing that he does to work out his costume is amazing.
Question mark, man. It's like, yeah, the amount of effort that he's gone into creating that program.
I don't understand the question mark thing. I don't understand that little robot thing that's in his house. I don't understand why it's already the Riddler. Like, I'm so lost.
Is that before or after the circus scene?
That's before, because then you get Riddler on his little bike and he delivers the little riddle.
Yeah.
The second one, there's already been a riddle at the suicide.
I do like the look of the cards though.
Yeah, me too.
They're like pop-up cards. I think they're quite fun.
So the first one is if you look at the numbers on my face, you won't find 13 any place.
It's in any place.
And
it's the way he works that out, 1 through 12. The answer's a clock, and I'm like,
watching someone work out a riddle is so boring. It's like that's the whole like Dan Brown thing with those films is him going 1, 8, 13. It's the Pope or whatever those films are about. And this film is the same.
What's the second riddle?
Tear one off and scratch my head. What once was red is black instead.
The answer is a match.
A match. It's a match.
So does he then take them to Chase Meridian after that? Is that scene?
Yes.
Where they're like,
it is.
Where he's like, where Bruce Wayne, who's meant to be a genius and all this, like, doesn't know what a Rorschach test is.
Yes. Yeah. He's never seen a Rorschach test before.
This is news to me.
I don't understand how she doesn't know he's Batman from like the second they meet. Like,
well, yeah, because this Batman poses for fucking pictures everywhere. If you look at the pictures of Batman on her table that you see later on, they're all like of like GQ
publicity
spreads,
shots.
like of him just posing. Like they're like publicity stills. Unless, do you reckon Batman has them taken himself and he like distributes them?
He literally comes into his office by kicking the door down though, and then going, "Oh look, there's a bat over there. Oh, by the way, this supervillain's sending me riddles. What do you think this is?" And she has no idea that he's Batman at all.
And like, so after that is that? Oh yeah, because he goes to it like, "We've got to get you out of those clothes."
That's when he
into a black dress.
That's the first time they've met, and he asks her out on a date.
Yeah, well, I in film writing, you've got to cut to the chase sometimes.
I guess so.
You've kind of got to like cut to the.
Why when is the circus ever? Why would he ever bomb a circus?
Also, like, why is the TV coverage at the circus? Is it just because Bruce Wayne's there, or is it the opening night? What is it? Like, I
don't know. I laughed so hard when I realised that they were sitting next to Commissioner Gordon. Like, they've all got seats together.
Yeah, but you're forgetting the most important character in this scene that's introduced, and that's Gossipy Gertie.
Oh, God. Shit, I thought...
And you know who plays...
No, I don't know who plays her.
You know who plays her? It's Bob Kane's wife.
Oh, is it? Okay, wow.
Yeah.
She's in both of these films, which is...
Yeah, she is.
So weird.
She's so overdramatic.
She's a little bit Tim Burton-y for me, I thought, actually. And
Do you think? I think she's pure Schumacher, like, over the top. Like...
Maybe. I guess it's the whole question about who Schumacher is. I think there's been a lot of dismissal of these films because Schumacher is a bit mad. But he does these wild films that are just these loud things that don't feel like real life. That's what he makes. And this is that.
Well, a lot of his earlier films and the film after this, so you had like The Client and then 8mm is quite a dark film in comparison to these, isn't it? And then The Client but then again he did The Lost Boys and DC Cab. DC Camp. Which are a bit more colourful, a bit more campy.
Well, Flatliners is a really big campy film, and
I mean, like, a lot of this film looks like the vampire's lair in The Lost Boys, and the way the Lost Boys dress is pretty much how the thugs dress in this film.
Yeah, absolutely, the kind of neon thugs. But you get stuff like The Incredible Shrinking Woman and stuff like that. He does have this kind of cult campy kind of sensibility to his kind of action. God, we are taking ages to get through this film.
So so Two-Face comes to blow up the
circus.
Robin helps get rid of said bomb made out of 200 sticks of TNT.
Yep, that's right.
I thought a bomb was just a bomb. I didn't think it was comprised of sticks of dynamite. I thought it was just its own.
Yet again, they're lifting it towards the ceiling. And they thwart the plan by lifting it through the ceiling. I'm not totally sure what it was meant to do when it got to the top of the ceiling.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
I was very confused.
Anyway.
I like how the Graysons, they make a plan that's literally just like, come on, we'll go through the rigging, and that's their entire plan. Like, they don't talk about anything more.
Also, going back to how you were saying how she doesn't know he's Batman, he's right next to her. I know. And I think if someone was shouting next to me, I would be able to hear what they're saying.
Yeah.
Even if there was a lot of shouting in the room, I would hear, if you were sitting next to me, saying, I'm Batman.
This annoyed me because he announces he's Batman because he thinks it's the only way he can save the day, right?
Yeah.
But then he just runs off anyway and does Batman stuff.
And starts fighting everyone.
So why did he just run off? Why was he stuck? Why was he stuck to have to kind of shout that I'm Batman?
I don't know.
But yeah, absolutely. Everyone around him could have heard him. Commissioner Gordon... Actually, no, Commissioner Gordon can't hear anything. But she would have definitely heard him just yelling, I'm Batman.
So yeah, and then Two-Face kills Robin's parents and his brother.
Yeah.
So he kills the Flying Graysons. Robin, who is at least 25 years old.
He is so old in this film, and it makes no sense. This is the worst part of the film for me. Because the next scene is like, Commissioner Gordon, I don't know why Commissioner Gordon's involved in this operation, turns up at Batman's house with Robin, and he just goes, well, you all have to have him now. We're out of ideas. You'll just have to look after him, Batman. Or Bruce Wayne. Bye.
Just in our hands of him.
Yeah. It's so weird.
And like, he can't be that hell bent on vengeance if he's like, oh, you can have this motorbike if you want, if you stay. Yeah. And he's like, or you can have a burger. And he's like, vengeance or burger, burger.
I guess the dogs will just have to have it. When he's explaining his nickname to Alfred and he says, "My dad said I flew like a robin that day." I'm like, what, that famous phrase that we all know and we all say all the time? They
But
go
one
so.
day Robin will fly again.
One day Robin will fly again. I'll just put your suit over in this cupboard.
There's also that random scene where it's like, I guess it's a Batmobile car chase where Two-Face pretends to be
What, in the pram?
like an old lady or whatever with a pram. And like, it's like, well, what's going on? Like, is he on patrol and he just happens to find him, or is
That scene to me was absolutely that they watched the film and went, "Oh, we need a scene there," and just went out and shot another scene.
Yeah. And then Batman drives at the wall, which I'm assuming is a bit of a reference to him walking up the wall because people are like watching him.
I wrote that. I said that it did look like that was some sort of reference to 66. That's it just happens.
Yeah.
They just cut away from this and they do Batman just going around the town. I think it's trying to tell you that Two-Face is trying to kill Batman, but I didn't get the impression of that in this film. I don't know if I'm dumb. I didn't really feel like
Batman
he was hell bent on trying to kill him.
So easy to kill it. If you really tried, you could kill this Batman very easily, like very, very easily.
Yeah, really easy.
But, is it when is it that the Riddler introduces himself to?
It's just
Two-Face?
coming up now. So I was going to say just before that, you get the first part of these flashbacks. So it's about an hour in, and you start getting these flashbacks of Bruce's parents dying, and pearls hitting the ground, and Val just staring off into space. And that was my main memory of this film, was actually the fact that it was just like loads of like dream scenes. There aren't actually that many, but there were too many in this film.
There was supposed to be more, because apparently there's a version of this film called the Red Book Edition.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's like a fan edition where they've just taken the deleted scenes and put them back in, but there's supposed to be, there is an extended version of this that exists somewhere, and it's got, basically, Bruce is kind of hung up on the fact that he believes, when he reads this book, and this is why he goes to see Chase Meridian, because she's a therapist, he believes that he's the reason why his parents died, because he wants to go to the cinema that night, and in the diary his dad wrote, "We went to the cinema because Bruce really we're going to the cinema tonight because Bruce really wants to go." So Bruce blames himself. But then later in
Bruce,
the film,
whiny kid wants to go see fucking Zorro again. We've got to go out on Murder Alley.
So when he's in the cave later on, he finds the book again because he drops it, doesn't he, when he falls in the cave, I believe. So he finds the book again like 30 years later, and then reads in the book that Bruce wants to go to the cinema tonight, but we can't. We've got to go somewhere else. We'll go to the cinema next week, or something to that effect. So really, he didn't cause their murder by wanting to go to the cinema.
How completely...
That's the crux of it.
That would have been a very engaging plot point. That would have... Such character growth that this film needs.
Yeah. I was trying to think of the plot of this. If you try and explain the plot of this film, you really can't.
An hour in is when... That's what I was going to say. It's an hour in and Carrey appears as the Riddler. And that's when the film actually starts. Anything before this has just been set up. The scenes happening. There's nothing actually... It's not driving towards anything, or...
If you watch the first scene... Well, that scene with Carrey first introducing himself to Two-Face...
Yeah.
You can see Jim Carrey right in the distance, just standing there hiding behind the wall. Like, I don't think you're meant to see him there, but you can just see him there standing awkwardly waiting to hit his mark.
That's better. I like that. I like a slightly awkward Riddler who doesn't know where to come in.
What do you think of Two-Face's lair with the half and half?
I don't know if I love it or hate it. I just don't understand. It's so awful and just so brilliant in the same breath. The one
thing you've got to give Schumacher credit is he goes for it. He just kind of hell for leather, just kind of goes for it.
He never puts his foot on the brake at any point. He's absolutely just like, this is the direction we're going in. He's going to have 2 dinners. One of them's caviar, the other one's black pork or something.
It's like 0 to Schumacher, and he just goes Schumacher all the time.
Just goes right off. I think, to be fair to this film, I think Carrey is really good in it. I think he looks amazing in the Riddler outfit.
Yeah, I don't know why they decided to go with the orange hair, but I quite like it.
Yeah. I don't. It's just a bad wig, but it's fine. But I love his stuff with the cane. I love everything he's bringing to it. I can watch him do all that all the time. The last outfit he wears, the white one.
Oh yeah.
I just think he looks amazing in it, and he looks like Gozer from like Ghostbusters.
He does actually. I was thinking what he looks like, but you're right. He looks like Gozer, and I like the light up one that he has.
Yeah. The jogging at night kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I think he's really committed, and as you said earlier, I want to be part of Jim Carrey's film in this. That's the film that was really getting me.
You can tell by the time they get to Batman and Robin, they think, okay, that's the level we need to reach is Jim Carrey level for every character in this film.
But they had Arnie.
But they don't hire a fucking comedian.
No.
So they kind of try and make people funny who aren't funny.
Yes. And the script
and in a way, it kind of makes it funny, but
yeah, I know what you mean.
I know in a weird way, but
that's the thing about the script is it felt like to me that on paper people were like, oh, this is hilarious. It's so quippy. Look at how they all joke all the time. And on screen, it's painful, especially the people delivering it. Val Kilmer just isn't in this film. I know he hated doing it. So, and I think you can tell that as well. Yeah, he said he hated it.
Do you know that if you go to his website, I don't know if this is sad, but he sells his own Batman artwork. So for $200, you can buy.
I think it's fine.
Val Kilmer Batman artwork.
I think I quite like that. Well, he's because he's had a throat cancer the last few years, hasn't he? He's had a really tough recovery from that, and now his voice is actually kind of a whisper, like he can barely talk.
Yeah, it's kind of fucked, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I don't know if he's in the new Top Gun. I think he might be.
I think he is, and I'm really looking forward to it. I love Val Kilmer, I really do. I love him in Tombstone. I just think he's so amazing in that film.
Yeah, he's. We've said before he's great in Heat as well.
Yeah, oh god, he's great in Heat, yeah.
Even Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, he's very good in that as well.
He's one of those guys that I just always had a lot of love for.
I don't think he's a very good Batman.
No, I don't think he's good in this at all. I really don't.
Joel Schumacher disagrees. He thinks he's the best Batman.
No.
Even though apparently they didn't get along on set, apparently he was quite difficult to work with.
Yeah, I think I can't remember the full thing now, but I've read that he just he got into it and he just realised how much he hated it. And he just didn't like what he was doing there, and I think it made him a pain to work with. But I should have said that Michael Keaton was not meant to be on board with this film until a year before shooting, I think. He quit really quite late into
So
it.
he was going to do it?
Yeah, but he quit because they got rid of his mate, Tim Burton, and because he just said the script was shit, is what he says about this. He wanted to do an origin story. He wanted to do like a darker film about the origins of Batman. That was what he kept on pitching to them, but they weren't listening to him.
Well, apparently Schumacher, after this film, after Forever, wanted to do a prequel. He wants to do Batman Year One, but the studio wanted Batman and Robin. And I guess he was probably already contracted to do another Batman film, so he probably had to do it.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't blame him for Batman and Robin. I think he made the film he was asked to make.
Sure.
You know, he probably had to make a film that could sell more toys and all this kind of stuff. So he just, it's like me making a corporate film, like a video, or whatever. It's no different, really. They have masters and people they have to appease. They have to appease the toy people. They have to toy the burger people. Do you know what I mean? They have to appease all these people so it can be a product they can sell and put out there. And by the end of it, like, I don't want to say there's no artistic integrity in there, because a lot of art and effort has gone into making these things. And I don't think Batman and Robin is an ugly film. I think it's a wild film. It's like a crazy looking film.
Yeah. But
it's very much a compromised film in terms of, I think, what it could have been. I mean, it's very much art by committee, I guess. I mean, more so Batman and Robin, less so with this one. But,
I think it's really easy to look back on these films after Nolan has come on board and go, they could have just done that. Why didn't they just do that? Because it's an amazing way to do it. But the landscape or filmscape of the 90s compared to the kind of early 2000s is so different. And I know at the time we were, big comic book geeks. We wanted to see our comic book characters represented in a way that we read them in the comics. But it wasn't going to happen in 95. It wasn't.
Well, yeah, because we were like a drop in the ocean in terms of like people who were going to watch this film. They wanted to get kids, they wanted to get grown-ups, they wanted to get the grandparents, they wanted to get everybody in there, basically.
And
they wanted to sell merchandise. And
I think it's unfair to judge it compared to the fact Nolan came on and just did, a spectacular job, frankly. But they are of a piece, and they are. I don't know.
They're just as valid in terms of the Batman history, I think.
Yeah, I would say that in a very Grant Morrison way. I'd say that as well.
And like I said, I enjoyed watching both of these films. I had a good time. I'm probably not gonna I watched The Dark Knight the other day as well. Like after me, you and Paul were talking about it, I put it on, and it's been a while since I watched that, and I was like, this film's still there's things in it that are still a bit iffy, like the whole boat scene. I get what they're trying to get at with the boat scene, but it's still a bit clunkily done and stuff like that.
Okay.
But
that's fair.
As a whole, it's so well done. Like it's so really well cast.
It's also like Nolan comparing someone like Nolan to Schumacher is just Nolan is an absolute visionary in what he does. When he came to Batman, he'd just he'd made some of the biggest films and got those blank checks to make Batman. Basically, it's a bit different to what's happening in 95 or 97 when the Batman films are done.
Well, I think Nolan very much makes Nolan films. He makes people who wear three-piece suits and. Do you know what I mean? He has his kind of thing.
They have this.
Whereas if you look at Schumacher's films, they're all kind of very different looking. He makes very different kinds of films. There's lots of similarities between some of them, but they are very different.
Can I say he's a studio filmmaker without sounding insulting?
Yeah, he comes from the old school. Like he's quite an old guy. He's like 80 now. He wasn't a young guy when he made this film. He was like 55, 60.
Yeah,
and he came from that old school of Hollywood. I reckon he probably worked his way up through the ranks and just kind of worked on sets and stuff like that. And whereas Nolan was like, I made a film with my friends, and so kind of what I say goes because I rule the rules. Do you know what I mean? He made his own rules. Whereas
he came from the independent world that he made small films that made a ton of money, so he was able to go to them and say, I know what people want. I know how to do this.
Yeah. Exactly, but I wouldn't say Schumacher's not a visionary because he definitely has a vision for these films.
I'd agree.
They're very like. It's not like a Tim Burton though, because you can put on a film and say this is a Tim Burton film. You could probably put on a Schumacher film and not necessarily know it's a Schumacher film.
Yeah,
but do you know what I mean? So I don't know.
The style design of this is something, and there's the feeling of it, the very campiness of it, the very kind of just over the topness of it. That's a choice. That's not they haven't accidentally fallen into this. I think. Well, I don't know. Maybe they did, but
yeah, it's like they looked at the Dick Spring issues of Batman from like the 50s, where he's like jumping on giant pianos and stuff like that, and that's what they've kind of made.
That's what they made. Yeah. Talking of that, the next scene in this film was when fucking Robin does his washing.
Apparently that's like his homage to like Chinese martial arts films where they'll kind of do like the washing up, or like they'll kind of do martial arts but in an everyday kind of activity. That's his homage to that kind of thing, apparently. I just like Alfred's reaction to the whole thing.
Yeah, like it's the most amazing thing Alfred's ever seen.
There's a scene cut out though where you see you see Bruce Wayne training on like those like wooden kind of.
Oh yeah.
They're not bodies, but they've kind of got the pegs sticking out, so you can kind of do your blocking and stuff like that.
Yeah, like Ip Man.
And Rob, basically, and Chris O'Donnell. I love it when they just keep calling him Master Dick the whole way through the film, and me being a child, I just kept laughing the whole way through. But
the Robin side of this film is the worst thing.
Basically, Robin, Master Dick just says, you're pretty useless, what you're doing, and then Batman roundhouses this wooden thing and just blows it up, and it just explodes to show how awesome is it kicking.
That should have been in it. I want that. That's a good scene. I love any time that Robin does any gymnastics. It's accompanied by like heavy metal music, and it makes me laugh every time.
Now,
look at him doing flips.
But that's what we were saying. Like it's got like music drops. So you've got like the Flaming Lips, or you've got Offspring, and I don't know who else is in it.
The U2.
U2. I do like that U2 song, I have to say. It's not as good as the Smashing Pumpkins one, though.
Oh, the Smashing Pumpkins song is such a tune.
I remember when we were in the Virgin Megastore and it was on the listening booth, and we both put it on for about 10 seconds. We're like, buying it.
This is yes. I remember that. I would have bought that without listening to it anyway, frankly.
True. What was the other song from this? Kiss from a Rose.
Baby. I was really happy. I skipped forward on the credits because I knew it was the second song in the credits, so I skipped forward to listen to it.
Do you not like the U2 song?
Bow, 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 bow. That one.
It's got nothing to do with Batman. I mean, none of these Batman songs have really. But,
baby.
The video is cool because it had an animated Batman in it, so that was cool. Apparently, Schumacher tried to get Bono in the film because I think during this time it was like their pop era.
Sure, when he was the spider.
And he had like an alter ego. You know how like pop stars have their stupid alter ego? And his was like this devil character. And
he had 4, if I remember.
And they tried to put him in it. Bono.
Bono. Sunny Day Real Estate are in the soundtrack as well.
Is it 8 or something like that?
I think it's 8. Is it? Yeah.
Yeah. But one of the things the producer wanted to do with that film is he wanted to, quote, make it more MTV. So that's why there's lots of like weird zooming in shots, crash zooms, and like the colours are so bright and vibrant, and it's quite choppy, like fast-paced chop editing, and the music as well. So half of the music is actually in the film. The other music is like inspired by or what they would have listened to influence them while making the film or something. Here you go. This is the Batman Forever soundtrack. So you've got U2, you've got PJ Harvey, Brandy, Seal, Massive Attack, Eddie Reader, Mazzy Star, The Offspring, they're doing a Damned cover, which is Smash It Up, Nick Cave, Method Man, the track's called The Riddler, Michael Hutchinson, and it's a cover of an Iggy Pop song, The Delvins, Sunny Day Real Estate, and The Flaming Lips.
Flaming Lips as well, yeah, that plays in Riddler's apartment, I think.
The Riddler's apartment, yeah.
Yeah. Right, back to the plot, because this is when he's on a date with Chase Meridian, and Alfred appears on the little watch.
The other car.
The other car. No, the other car.
He boosted the Jag.
That neon district that Robin goes to drive in is just.
Well, you know there's 3 prostitutes who pretty much come up to Dick Grayson when he's in the back.
Yeah.
That's En Vogue.
Really?
Yeah. It's either hang on. So En Vogue. Who's the one that did Waterfalls? Is that En Vogue? I don't know.
Waterfalls, isn't that TLC?
It's either En Vogue or TLC. It's one of those two. I think it's En Vogue, but
isn't TLC Waterfalls?
Yeah, it's one of them. It's TLC or it's En Vogue. It's one of those 2 bands that are in that scene. But
doesn't Batman ever kiss the girl? That whole scene.
And then Batman just turns up and they leg it. And like, there's 100 of them. I'm sure 100 of those could take one Batman, don't you think?
And then Robin starts beating Batman up. Robin is too old in this. I hate it. I hate it so much. Like, I don't know why they had to make him like 25 or whatever it is.
He's got shitty sideburns.
Yes, and a shitty
earring. Terrible earring. He's got like a massive chunky earring. And
then I was gonna say, like, I will stan Robin in a film. Like, I think it should happen. I love Robin in the comics.
Oh,
I think
100%.
I think Dick Grayson is such an important character of Batman. I think it's an absolute cop out that the films won't do it. I think it misses the whole fucking point of Batman if they don't do Robin. I don't know what Robin is in this film. Like, they don't get there at all. Like, none of the stuff I think that really important about Dick Grayson or Nightwing or Jason Todd or any of the Robins is in this film. Like,
in the director's commentary, Joel Schumacher calls him Nighthawk, which I think sums up how much he knows about the Batman mythos.
But I love this part of the film is when it honks in to use the vernacular. When you got Riddler and Two-Face just together is brilliant. I love them just robbing banks. I love all those scenes, their montages. They're very gay together. They're just cartoons.
Oh, very,
so
very much.
it's
Like
so
they're wearing
just,
tiaras in their like 1950s van as they're like driving
just giggling
around,
and hugging each other, and I'm like, this is
I
amazing.
like that. Show me how to punch a guy.
Yeah, that scene's great.
Roll up the fist, lean back, and assert yourself.
Insert yourself, yeah. I was like, I want more of that Two-Face. I want Two-Face to be much straighter in this film. Like, no, I don't. That sounds wrong in the previous comments, but like, 'cause I'm quite happy with him being the gay partner of Riddler. But I mean, like, I need him to be less giggly. I just want him to be like more of something to Riddler to play off. I think it would have been a little better with it, but I don't know what Tommy Lee Jones was doing with this character.
Here's a good one. No.
Here's a good one.
Here's a good one. Do you know why Batman doesn't thwart any of these crimes?
No.
Because apparently somehow the Riddler has hacked into the Batmobile. I don't know how. There's deleted scenes and then they're sending Batman to the wrong places for the crime scenes. So he ends up at a barbershop where he goes inside and there's all women getting their hair done and they're like, woo!
That's amazing. That's the best thing I've ever heard.
So they send Batman on fool's errands or whatever. Like, I don't know how they
so
hack
good.
into his Batmobile
that should
or
be in
whatever.
this film just doesn't have any quit to it. It just doesn't have
It just
any...
doesn't know what it wants to be. Is it trying to be a psychological drama? Is it trying to be this gay bromance between two villains? I don't know. It's so...
Whatever the fuck's going on with Robin's needs. The Batman fucking chase Bruce Wayne like threesome thing is just so weird.
Yeah.
This is the bit where don't they have the party now, and Jim Carrey's like, "How's my mole?" Because he's looking exactly like Val Kilmer.
This is what I was going to ask you. Okay. So they cast a comedian to play Batman in Batman '89, Michael Keaton. Could Jim Carrey have played Batman?
It's a little...
Because he's not an ugly guy. He's a good-looking guy. If you look at this scene where he's kind of trying to look like Val Kilmer, he looks suave and he looks cool. So I'm just wondering if he could, maybe not at this point in his career, but I reckon at some point he could have.
Acting-wise, I think he could have. I think body-wise, he's a little too spindly. I think that's my answer.
Do you think so?
Even when he's in like, I don't know. Jim Carrey's such an odd guy. Who's to know? Is this the one he got paid 15 million for? Or 21 million, was it? The highest paid actor in the world.
I think his first highest paycheck was Cable Guy.
Oh wow, God. He was actually on fire.
No, I think he was probably on like Dumb and Dumber money, so probably like, well, it's no chump change, but he was probably on like $7 million for this or something like that,
right.
Probably.
Immense.
But
and then it's Halloween, which is great. It should always be Halloween in a film. There's no reason why.
Well, hang on. No, first of all, this scene's awesome though. Like when Batman comes down the.
Oh, your entrance was good. His was better.
His was better. What do you think of Sugar and Spice, like Two-Face's henchwomen?
I don't know. I don't know what I think about his two henchwomen.
Because they are basically like Harley Quinn, like separated.
Yeah, I guess they are.
Kind of.
Yeah. And
it's that one of them is Drew Barrymore, who I thought was quite a big star.
Yeah, she was.
A bigger, and she's doing quite a small part in this.
Yeah, totally.
And then the other one is Debbie Mazar.
Okay.
Who she had another film out this year, which is one of my favourites, and that's Empire Records.
Was she in that?
Yeah, she was.
No
She
way.
was the. She was like the hand to Rex Manning, so she kind of looked after him. So there's like neon all over this scene as well. The band have got neon all over their guitars and drum kits and bass and all that. But like Robin goes in with them, but you never see him at the party once.
No.
You only see him later on when he goes to get his like shitty little acrobatic suit.
That's now, isn't it? That's now because Two-Face blows at the party, and then
before that, Bruce Wayne uses the Enigma Tech box thing, doesn't he? And they kind of extract that he is Batman because they get an image of a giant bat.
He has a bat in his head. Yep. I love it that I love it that they capture Batman in this scene by a scaffolding tube. I laughed so hard that he jumps down a hole.
It's the way he falls down into it. He just falls down into the tube, like he almost dives in it, kind of.
And then they when the gas explosion happens and Batman kneels, what is he doing to stop the explosion? What is he
Well, he's not
done?
doing it to stop it, because surely that explosion will cause more damage than to just what's anyway. But he's got like a device on him, hasn't he? That he presses a button and it kind of
he goes like shiny.
Yeah, it's just like a force field, I guess. I don't know. Simple, quick and easy plot kind of like writing. I don't know.
Both these films have such a just a Batman 66 element of, well, Batman must have that with him. So it just anything he needs.
In Batman Robin's
it goes
like
wild in Batman.
A bat bomb.
Yeah. And then he has like bat heaters, and he has ice skates, and he has like,
oh fucking hell, the ice skates on his boots. It's the way he slides down that fucking T-Rex. I do quite enjoy that though. But
I think it's hilarious at this point when Robin thinks that his outfit is good enough for him to fight crime in, when it's just like a little spandex thing.
Also, if you were to pull a guy out, like with one hand out of like that rubble, Robin's arm would break or be dislocated at least.
He's got his gymnastic skills. He's always catching people.
Do you know what I like about the next scene though? When you see like a shirtless Batman, like Val Kilmer looks like he's in good shape, but he looks like a normal dude. He's not like a.
Okay.
He's not like a Bale or an Affleck, like super ripped.
Yeah, I hate the Affleck look for Batman. I really don't like it at all.
Bale was okay.
Yeah, Bale's okay. Bale just looks like a guy who's been in the war. You know, he's just. I think that he looks like his body doesn't look healthy, muscly. It just looks like it's someone who's abusing himself, which I think suits Batman.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah, but like Val Kilmer just looked like a.
Just looks like a guy.
Yeah.
We're kind of into the end game now, aren't we? Though, because that's when.
Well, yeah. So like, Robin's kind of saying, "I'm part of the team now, whether you like it or not," and then he's like, "Nah."
Oh, this is when Batman quits because he's got a girlfriend. That's what.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh, we forgot one scene actually, and that's the scene where after the Enigma Tech launch party for his new box, Nicole Kidman and Val Kilmer, well, Batman and Chase make out. And she goes, "Meet me at my apartment at midnight." And so at midnight, Batman comes. She's like spread out on her satin sheets like a flipping pretzel. And then they make out. And then she realizes, oh, I actually love Bruce Wayne. Tells Batman this. Then Batman turns around and gives a big old shit-eating grin smile thing. The bat smile. I don't know, whatever you want to call it.
That's when that happens. And then it's Halloween and they invade Bruce Wayne. Wayne Manor? Bruce Wayne
Manor, yeah.
Wayne Manor. Yeah, that's what it's called. And I love that whole thing. To me feels like such a toy set. Like it's like they just went, we need to sell a set of the Batcave with a Riddler in it with little bombs. So
the fold
make
out Batcave set, yeah.
Yeah, make that and we can have little squeaky bombs in it and a Riddler prancing around.
I do like that scene though, where he's like,
I liked it too.
Doing like the baseball.
Yeah, Jim Carrey's absolutely just dominating, frankly, the whole film.
Well, apparently it's him. When the things are exploding, he's actually standing there. It's not a stunt double, it's Jim Carrey. Like,
fair enough.
You can actually tell. Like, you can 100% tell when it's a stunt double in this film, because it's before, like, digital face replacement, so you can, like, 100% tell when it's someone doing a roundhouse kick that's not Batman or whatever.
Or I got a weird wig that's pretending to be Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah. Do you like his face makeup in this?
No, I hated it.
It's pretty shit. It's like his lip is so bizarre.
It's
like
so weird.
Purple lip. And I swear he's got like highlighted, like, you know, that black light kind of makeup on his face.
Yes,
so, like,
yeah.
Pick up
I just found it continuously distracting that I could be like, why does he look like that? Why has he got wild pink hair? Like, why? Why did the acid do that?
Why is his eye not affected, but yet his ear is
mangled?
His ear is like no longer there. Like, at least they went there with the Dark Knight. They kind of gave him like the big, bulbous, like manky eyeball that's like clouded over. And
yeah, I mean, The Dark Knight again. It's amazing that they did that with Two-Face. Really works. But
do you know what? I wasn't expecting when I saw that film. I wasn't expecting to do that, so I was quite pleasantly surprised that they went there.
Because it was hidden, wasn't it? If I remember, there wasn't total reveal. Yeah.
Yeah, no one ever saw it. It wasn't in any of the trailers or anything.
People just knew that Harvey Dent was in it because he'd got cast. I think that was the only thing that people knew.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, like one of the, I think the publicity was like the, what was it? Vote for Hart? No, it wasn't. What's the slogan?
Yeah.
Vote Dent or whatever, and there's like all those posters and stuff like that.
We'll make crime.
But yeah, okay. So
this is the Riddler scene. No, we need to get to the next riddle because this is, the 8 of us go forth, not back, to protect our king from the foe's attack. Which is pawns. And then we're 5 little items of everyday sort. You'll find us all in a tennis court. And it's got the little thing going back and forth. And he goes, vowels. So, if I don't explain now what the mystery is, can you do it?
No. Well, the mystery is. Well, do you mean that they kind of get letters from? They get numbers from each of the.
Yeah, each riddle has a number in it. So it has 13, then 1, then 8, and then 5. And Alfred decides that each of those correspond to a letter. Yeah. So they come up with M-A-H-E, Mahi.
Yeah.
And then Bruce Wayne decides that doesn't make any sense. So if you put 1 and 8 together,
yeah,
they make
M-R-E.
That's M-R-E, or Mr. E, a play on the word mystery. Miss Edward Nigma. That's what they're trying to tell us. It's like, what? This is the whole.
I swear it's an ADR line, but like as Batman's walking away, he's like, strictly suicide must have been a computer-generated forgery. And it's like...
When
weird, what?
The same thing with like, how does Chase not know Bruce Wayne's Batman? How does no one know that Edward Nigma is the supervillain in this? Like, how does Batman not know that he's the Riddler at any point? Well, he's got this huge island that's sucking in green fucking like mind waves everywhere.
You've got to remember, Batman hasn't actually encountered the Riddler until the very end scene of the film. So he has two encounters with.
Yeah.
So he has two encounters with him as Edward Nigma.
Yeah.
I guess there's the one in the flat, in fucking Wayne Manor.
The flat.
The flat, yeah. You know, he's flat.
He's flat. Batman's flat. That's not until Dark Knight when he has the flat.
That's true, the penthouse. But yeah, he doesn't really... There's no scenes with Batman in costume and the Riddler.
Yeah, it's true. I didn't even think of that.
Until later on in the film. But I can't remember during the Wayne Manor heist. Does he see the Riddler? He must do, or does he not? Or has he just encountered Two-Face?
I literally can't remember.
Because the bastards knock out Alfred, the bastards, and then drag him.
My favourite thing about when Robin breaks into the Batcave and then when Riddler does later is that when someone breaks into the Batcave, it goes wee intruder alert and opens everything. Why does everything? Why does everything open? It alarms off and the Batmobile comes out of the floor and all the windows open to show you all the suits and stuff like that. It's the weird, like, that's not good security, Bruce. That's the opposite of what should be happening. But at this point we get some bat butt, so it's fine because he has to put his new costume on.
Oh yeah, you get like, I think is it Batman and Robin though? You get double bat crotch, so you get Robin butt, Robin crotch as well. But you do later on get Batgirl crotch, Batgirl.
You do get some Batgirl crotch,
and
you get some Batgirl nipple. Yeah.
I mean, if at least you know, Schumacher is a what do you call it, like a he's an equal opportunist, so he'll.
Whoever is wearing the rubber is going to have a close up of their self.
It's like he said in the commentary track. He goes, "I've been accused of like what's the word? Like sexually exploiting pretty people in my films," and he goes, "I'm not ashamed of that."
Oh, God. So Robin now gets his outfit, which looks dreadful.
Yeah, it's very metallic-y looking, isn't it? It's not even like nice colour reds or greens. It's kind of like this weird.
And
I don't know.
I think this is when he goes, "What does the R stand for?" And he goes, "Robin," or something. It's some character moment or something, I guess. So this is the point where Batman learns that he has a sidekick called Robin. It hasn't been a thing until this point. They go off to save. No, not even I don't have to say. They go off to fight Riddler anyway.
Well, no, they're going to save Chase Meridian, who's being kidnapped.
Chase has been captured, yeah. So at this point, the commissioner's on the roof, and he's so happy when he sees Batman go past.
Yeah, but how does he know there's anything going on?
I don't know.
And
he gives him a thumbs up. And the commissioner's like,
he know there's a crime?
Batman. It's like kids playing Batman. I love it.
It is, yeah. It's just none of it makes sense.
None of it makes any sense. At this point, Batman has rockets on his boots when he's getting crushed by the little trap thing. He has little mini
first
rockets.
of all, they go by sea or by air. So Robin goes on the boat, Batman goes in the bat plane, whatever you want to call it, bat wing. Robin gets blown up straight away by the battleship game.
Oh yeah, they're playing battleships.
And then it's almost like a Bond film from now on. It's almost like they're infiltrating the Bond lair.
Yeah, okay.
And even the thugs are kind of like a Bond thugs underwater with their like harpoon guns and stuff like that. Batman crashes because he gets blown up as well, and then like a little submarine ejects out of the cockpit of the Batwing. He then saves Robin in the water. Then they get up on the island, and then you get the egregious holy rusted metal Batman line.
Yeah, that's true.
Then Batman. Then they get separated, don't they? Because like part of the island rises, and then Batman like signals, "I'm going to take the door."
Yeah, Robin fights Two-Face. That's right, and he saves him.
Yeah, and then he pulls the gun out on him.
He pulls the gun out, a massive fucking gun, one of Two-Face's huge fucking guns that you have on him.
I don't understand what Batman's doing because he's trying not to get crushed by this platform with spikes that's coming towards him. He could fit through those gaps, no problem. They're massive.
But he has to do his little rocket boots thing, which I was just really happy that Batman had rocket boots. I didn't know Batman.
It's his sonar suit though, which
it's his sonar suit. I wonder if that will come into play. It doesn't come into play.
Like at the end, he puts on his little, I don't know what his sonar suit does. Like the little lies drop down.
Yeah.
He pulls out his batarang and just throws it at the giant green thing that no one could miss. Like, why you'd need to have those those lenses to be able to hit that thing, I don't know. And I don't even know what it achieves.
I don't know what it makes Riddler go. Makes his head bendy. I don't.
Bummer.
This is the bit where then a god am I. And then like
that was a good bit.
They set up this trap. This is what I was getting to. They set up this trap that has Chase Meridian and Robin in two little pods. And the point is that he can't save both of them. But Robin hasn't existed until a minute ago. So what was the plan going to be? And why was this set up when no one knew he had a sidekick? Like,
so they've got these two tubes already just ready for them. Like,
just ready for this trap that couldn't possibly existed until like a second ago. There's no setup to them being a team. And then as soon as they're there, they all know that Batman and Robin is a thing. Like Jim Carrey and Tommy Lee Jones and everyone knows, it's Batman and Robin, the team. The team we all know and
Dark
love.
Knight's junior partner.
Junior partner. So you wouldn't know who he was. You have to introduce at some point that they learn that this character exists.
I think he should have at least been full-blown Robin before the party scene.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you know what I mean? So they should have had a scene beforehand where he's wearing his
shitty outfit.
Like his
when he steals the Batmobile,
then,
he could just be wearing a shitty outfit and he's gone off to stop crime or something. Like,
yeah, exactly. And then Alfred makes him his like little suit with his nipples, and then you get a bit more Robin in it. Then at least, like at this point, he's done fuck all. He's
done kung fu
that boat
washing,
and yeah. I mean, to be fair, he has saved Batman at one point, and he did save the people at the circus. But in terms of when he's costumed Robin, he's done bugger all.
As far as I needed like a spinning paper that said "New Batman sidekick?" ? And the Gabby,
exactly. Batman
and the Gabby lady going,
Ward.
"Oh my god, the new Ward is so sexy" or something. Like, I needed all that. Like,
100%. Gossipy Gertie's like, ooh,
yeah. Who is this new amazing boy on the scene? I needed all that in this, and instead the film kind of just forgets Robin exists, really, and then at the end decides that everyone knows Robin's there.
Yeah.
But the film gets sold by him blowing up the big blender, and Batman decides that he is both Batman and Bruce Wayne, which I wasn't aware until this point was a struggle. I didn't know that was a problem until this line of the film, and I went, "Oh, is that what you're trying to do?" I thought it was fine. I thought it was quite clear that you were both. I didn't think there were two parts of you. This wasn't that Superman film when they fight each other. But
so many superhero films have kind of taken this trope of like the villain or a character like being obsessed with the main hero. So you've kind of got Amazing Spider-Man 2. You've got Electro, who's pretty much like Edward Nygma at the beginning, like obsessed with Spider-Man. You've got Justin Hammer, I think, in Iron Man 2, who even tries to dress like he even wears the same clothes as Tony Stark. I think even in the new Wonder Woman, you've got Cheetah, who I think may be kind of similar kind of role.
Okay,
so it's like a strange trope that they keep
going back to.
Yeah,
I'm not on board of the story they did in this of the person being jealous of his superhero ego, or whatever the story. That's not something I can enjoy watching. It just made Bruce Wayne.
Didn't they kind of do that? Didn't they do that with the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans?
Yeah, I was trying to think if they did that. They did a little bit, didn't they?
Yeah, I think so. Until they're at the hospital and she realizes she likes Peter or something like that. I don't know. But what do you think of the end shot as well when they're both running and Batman's mask is wobbling all over the place?
I laughed that this film finishes with just them running towards the camera with a bat sign. I'm just like, yep, sure, that's the end. That's how you end a film. How else would you? I don't know how else you'd end a film. Yeah, with just them running.
All these films end the same, with Alfred in a Rolls Royce, with either Batman in the back of the Rolls Royce or his girlfriend. The light shines in the sky, and then someone looks up. And like originally, this was meant to end with Batman and Robin standing on a rooftop, and then they jumped down into action. But they somehow changed it for this weird running.
The running thing is so funny.
I do like Jim Carrey's last scene when he's in Arkham Asylum.
Why relaxes me? I read that as I wrote down here. Why is Chase here? Like, why would they call Chase? Oh, you got to hear this. He says he knows who Batman is. Come on, you got to watch this in person. I love Riddler in that last bit. I love him like, a riddle for me, really. I can't do the Jim Carrey like really, but it like, and then when they kill Two-Face because they chuck all the coins in the air.
Oh yeah, well, this is Achilles' heel. You know that. You learned that earlier on in the film.
Yeah, Chase came to tell you that earlier on. the scene with Riddler in Arkham is such a stinger scene. Like nowadays would be midway through the credits. I found it's really weirdly placed in this because it was before the credits.
Oh, well, you can do a fan edit if you want. You can cut it out and put it.
Oh, that would work.
Put it at the end.
Yeah, you can put it. You put it after the bow, 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 bow.
And then you cut a little bit out of Shazam and just put Mr. Mind in the corner of the padded cell.
Yes. Oh, Riddle should come back with Mr. Mind. That would be great.
This is the first Batman film where you get a reference to Superman because they talk about Metropolis.
Oh, is it the next film that this is why Superman works alone?
Yeah. Where they pretty much do the exact same opening from this film and the next film. But it takes so long for Batman to leave the Batcave because he has to wait for the Batmobile to come up. And he even just cuts to Batman standing there waiting for ages for the Batmobile to rise before he can get into his cockpit and drive off. Then Robin's Redbird has to then come out of the middle of the floor and then opens up and then he drives off. I'm like, that's like 10 minutes.
I laugh so much that when the little cupboard opens for the Redbird that it has like Robin logos on it that light up. I'm like, Alfred just, he really cares. He really puts all those details in to make them feel special, doesn't he? Like,
it's that branding. It's all about that branding.
It's all about it. I laughed a lot when I went to watch Batman and Robin and Chase Meridian wasn't in it. And they've just got, he's just dating like a randomer who I can't even remember her name.
It's Elle McPherson, isn't it? I forgot what her name is, but yeah, like there's no way you'd get Nicole Kidman back for that kind of small part though that she plays in that. But I tell you what, I like Uma Thurman in Batman and Robin. I think she plays it quite well. Yeah, she gets the tone right too. At least.
That film.
And I read somewhere that Sorry, we're going to say.
I was going to say the film tone is all over the place, but she really slots into it. She you know, when you've got a film that's kind of, hasn't she got like a pink Volvo or something like that? It's getting driven by a green man in a mask, and he's dressed like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. You know, when they go out above the sewer and they got big coats.
Oh God, he's got the trench coat on and the big fedora hat. Yeah.
You know where you're playing those scenes when that's happening around you, I think, and she certainly does. Arnie is not good. Arnie's not good in the film.
I read somewhere it was meant to be Patrick Stewart originally. I don't know if that's true. But he would have made a good Mr. Freeze, I think.
He would have. I don't know if he would have fitted.
I mean, what I read was it was originally meant to be Patrick Stewart, and then he got rewritten to be all quippy for Arnold Schwarzenegger. But I don't know if that's true.
I can't imagine because this film is quippy. This film is continuously quippy. They don't talk to each other like people at any point.
Oh, they double down on it though in Batman and Robin. Though
they do,
even worse.
But that's what I mean. I can't imagine they would have written a script that didn't have it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
because they clearly liked it.
Yeah. But like overall, I had good fun revisiting this film. And
me too.
Yeah, it's very nostalgic. Like I got popcorn. I sat down like it was like 1995 at the cinema. I just wish I had my themed cup with my Coke in it that had like the Batman and Robin artwork on it, Batman Forever artwork on it, or whatever.
Ultimately, I would rather sit down and watch this than some of the Marvel films that have come out. Like, I'd watch this over like Incredible Hulk or like Iron Man 2 or the fucking Winter Soldier. Actually, no, I like the Winter Soldier. Civil War, fucking dredge of a film.
But you know why? Because it's not a great film structurally, I think, but at least it looks like a film and it feels like a film.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of the Marvel films, in my opinion, kind of feel a bit televisual.
Yeah.
You know, they definitely went for something with this film, and it didn't always land.
No.
But at least they tried, and they were making a film. They were making a movie in the old Hollywood sense of making a movie.
They weren't backing off for it. They weren't scared of doing stuff. And it doesn't feel like it was shot in like a parking lot in Atlanta. It just feels like they just go for that.
These were sets that were huge. Do you know, these were ginormous sets. They built a ginormous Batcave. You know, they wouldn't do that now, really.
No,
they'd probably just build a part of it, and the rest of it would be CGI.
There's something really endearing about that, and they feel of a piece. They feel of a thing. They feel quite tangible with that, and something quite, something to grab hold of. And it's not a great film.
Definitely.
I couldn't say it's like, it's not forced up. If we're doing ratings, 3 stars is fine, 3.5 maybe. But it's fun and it's something, and and especially when I'm not in the mood of being, I'm no longer, let's say, jaded comic book fan who just really wants to see his comic books on screen. I'm actually really happy to go see big, loud, big, loud kind of genre film, and that's kind of what this is.
Yeah. No, I enjoyed it. What would you give Batman and Robin out of 5?
I've 2.5. I had like 2.5 probably. I enjoyed watching it more than I thought I would, but I just think it drags.
Yeah, I definitely found myself getting tired during parts of it.
Yeah. It's the love thing that was really getting on my nerves. That Robin and him arguing about who's going to have sex with Poison Ivy was just couldn't put up with that anymore. But the scene like when Poison Ivy kind of gets does the jailbreak with Mr. Freeze and stuff, I was well on board for those scenes. That was fun.
It's well fun.
Yeah,
I like it. I like the fact that Mr. Freeze's henchwoman is basically like Sugar and Spice, but it's like just a nice version of that.
Him in his like little ice lair with his slippers on him, and it's just bonkers.
Yeah, they're like watching the Rankin and Bass Christmas specials like we were talking about with the Community episode earlier. Well, Liam, we could talk about this film forever, but you know, all things must come to an end. So, what are we talking about next week then?
Next week is next week we're doing we're going to our second miniseries. So we're going back in time. We just did the 90s, and we're going to do the 1970s next.
We're going back in
which
time.
I think would be really exciting. The 1970s films are quite of an era, and I quite like 1970s films myself. So we'll see what we got.
Agreed.
But the 1970 film we're doing first is the movie Wonder, which isn't very well known, admittedly, but it's a bit of a cult classic. Its kind of legacy has grown out the years. We'll talk about it at the time, but Barbara Loden, the director, I think it's the only film she ever did, and she's quite iconic with that. It was her first film.
She's the star of the film as well, isn't she?
She's the star of it. Yeah, it's absolutely kind of driven by her, which I think would be really, really cool to do, and good to cover a female director as well. Actually, that's one of the reasons that I was really keen to do it.
100%.
So we'll see you next week looking at Wonder. Yeah.
So thank you very much for listening and downloading. We're also on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify. We're on YouTube. You can find us on Twitter. We are Adjust Your Track. That's a YR, not a your. We're also on Instagram, and you can find us at Better Feeling Films. So yeah, check us out. Get in the conversation. Tell us what you thought of Batman Forever. Do you prefer Batman and Robin? Who is your favourite, Batman and Robin? I don't know. Who's your favourite villain? I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm going to cut this out. But yeah, don't forget, if your picture's bad, always adjust your tracking.
When it's so in my eyes, you come alive, Did you know? Going slow, my eyes become a lavender. Let's go, baby. Turn up the pain to a big on the road. Oh, the more I get of you, the stranger. Now that you're rolling in blue, a light is the blue on blue. Well, baby, but I'm gonna take you to a big on the road. Oh, the more I get of you, the stranger. Now that you're rolling in blue, a light is the blue on blue. Batman Forever. I know it's Batman Returns, wasn't it? Was it Batman Forever? Sweet. Oh.